So here we have Glenn Beck, and supposedly someone wrote on Glenn's Facebook wall that they sent their child to school and the child's teacher had been teaching to always listen to teachers and that pilgrims were the first terrorists. Glenn gets pretty upset about it. Let's see what Glenn has to say.
We're at a point now to where we have to shut down the Department of Ed. There's no reform that is going to be good enough. You have to shut down the Department of Education. It must be turned off, and the control has got to go back to the local level. Look, we have put up with it and put up with it and put up with it. Do you realize how much has been done? Do you really think we've found all of the things that they have put in the last 8 years? The last 12 years? The last 20 years? Do you think we have found all the things that they've worked in that just start the gears moving? Once those gears are moving, you're not going to shut them off. The only way is to shut down the machine. You have to reboot the entire system and wipe the hard drive. That's the only way.
So Glenn Beck wants to shut down the Department of Education. So a great analogy that was made was Kyle Skolinski over at Secular Talk Radio. It's got a really great show. Check it out. Made the analogy that it's like going to the doctor and then the doctor giving you advice or saying something to you or telling you something that you disagree with or find offensive, therefore shut down all hospitals. Glenn, we're not going to shut down hospitals just because of one thing a doctor might have said. Same with the teachers. We're not going to shut down all schools just because of one anecdotal piece of evidence someone may or may not have said on your Facebook wall or may not have actually happened in reality. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that it happened. Let's say the teacher said this, all right? And it was actually said. Is there any validity or weight that pilgrims were the first terrorists? Well, let's look at history and see what we got. Here we have Howard Zinn's People's History of the United States. And in it, we have some quotes from Christopher Columbus, who was the first pilgrim, essentially, to settle here. And he left some logs behind, and this is what he says. This is Christopher Columbus. Quote, "They have no iron. Their spears are made of cane. They would make fine servants. With 50 men, we could subjugate them all and make them do whatever we want." Second quote, Christopher Columbus. Here we go. Quote, "As soon as I arrived in the Indies, on the first island which I found, I took some of the natives by force, in order that they might learn and might give me information of whatever there is in these parts." So is there a little weight to that the pilgrims were the first terrorists? I think there's actually some weight to that claim. But looking at the story of Glenn Beck specifically, why is Glenn important? Why do I like talking about Glenn Beck? Well, Glenn Beck, he used to be a major Fox contributor on Fox News. And essentially, he was there. He eventually got kicked off because he was too crazy for Fox News, which is pretty funny. And he was there. And recently, about a month and a half, he came out and said that he has some sort of medical disorder or medical problem or complication where he's running at 10 to 15% brain capacity. And he was really, really sick and he couldn't focus. And this was the whole time. This has been going on for 8-10 years. The whole time he was at Fox News giving his opinion to millions of people who were taking him seriously on whether or not to go to war in Iraq and other controversial, serious issues that require full thought and attention, not 10% brain capacity. And people were listening to this guy and taking him seriously. And now suddenly he's got this doctor who well, he has no actual, just we're going to say doctor, because he has no traditional education from, a university or college, throws him in some sort of gyroscope, spins him around, and magically, oh, Glenn's cured all of a sudden. It's so ridiculous. Glenn, I love you, buddy. Keep it up. You give me lots to talk about.